Hello everyone, and welcome to this special reading. This is for the full moon in Gemini, and she will be at her peak at 4:30 in the morning on tomorrow, November 30th. So when I tapped in with the symbol for when this moon is at her peak, and keeping in mind here, the full moon is a time of letting go. It's a time when we can just open up and let out some stuff. Because truth be told, in a human form, we can only hold so much. And that's good, bad, or indifferent. It's everything in our life. We're constantly, think about the deluge of information, of thoughts, of feelings, just interactions, experiences. I mean, we are like a whole bunch of sponges, just constantly picking up information, and our beautiful brains are always trying to scour the contents that we already have up there to try to find meaning, to try to find some answers somehow, especially in times when we're uncertain about how things are going to play out. And we're kind of in that place as a collective right now. We're all kind of in this limbo land. So the full moon is a time for an opening to occur. It's kind of like, when you make room in your closet because you are looking for that perfect mate to be in your life, and you need to make room in your closet, in your garage, for their car. You need to make room. And so Gemini is an air sign. This has to do with our thoughts. And what I love about Gemini energy, and believe me, there is something that I love about every single sign of the zodiac. So what I love about Gemini is it is an inquisitive nature. That is the first word that comes to mind, along with the word curious, comes on the tails of that. And I just feel the symbol for this full moon is Gemini 9, a quiver filled with arrows. And arrows are like thoughts. Like in the tarot, the swords are representative of the element of air. So our mentality, our ways of thinking about the world and perceiving it. We don't realize how important perception is in our whole experience. And like I was saying before, when we have this unsteady ground that we seem to be on, that kind of translates down into our own life. It kind of trickles down, that overall energy of being kind of unsettled and things just feeling all like all the cards have been thrown up in the air. And so we go back in the brain and try to, like, where can I find some stability? Like, what will bring me a sense of safety? And that is a human need that's very strong, and it happens quite unconsciously with most of us. But the tricky part is that the brain can only conceive of what it already knows, if that makes sense. Past experiences, things that we've already learned, things that we've been told, things that we read, things that we learn about. That the brain is very, very good about making that connection. But it's all in the past. It's all what you already know. And Gemini is a fresh energy. Gemini wants new ideas, new growth, and it wants it fast because Mercury is the planet that rules Gemini. So what I think with this full moon is this is a time of letting go of some very speedy thoughts that immediately and truly unconsciously come to mind. And I want you to think about it that way, because Gemini completely has to do with the mind. It has, think about what is that like loop that plays out. I know what it is for me. I'll give you an example. For myself, when I get some challenging news, like with my health, I immediately want to go to a place of like, what did I do to make this happen? What am I not doing right that this could occur? And what does this mean? And what do I need to watch out for? And my brain starts going in that loop. It's an endless loop. And it's a part of who I am. I see it in my astrology why that is. But it doesn't mean we can't raise up our game. And I feel like the quiver filled with arrows that we have for this full moon, you're wanting to make some room in the quiver for some new arrows. You've just handcrafted them. And this is the use of inspiration, which all inspiration comes from spirit. It is not something derived out of the brain. I firmly believe that. It's from the divine. It's from the bigger part of who we are that sees the whole of the picture and really knows that everything is okay and everything is going according to plan and it's all right. You know, it's that, like the comforting words of my husband, it's all going to be okay. And whatever that okay is. But when you really think about, you know, like with my example, really think about why is that I just go to that. It is my mind, it is the ego structure that wants to keep me safe, which is part of my standard equipment. I'm not looking to get rid of my ego because it does help to keep me safe, but it's limited in its scope. And Gemini does not like limitations. It wants to learn, have lots of conversations, just absorb and be inspired. Gemini really appreciates that. And so when we can open ourselves up, and this is what I mean by making room within the quiver for new arrows, arrows that you have handcrafted. You didn't even go to a store to buy them. And those arrows represent new thought patterns, new creative sparks of ideas. That's why I'm calling this a sparking moon, because that's what I think of with Gemini. It is these people who have strong Gemini energy. And by the way, we all have Gemini energy. It's just it's more pronounced for some people in their chart. And so the magical thing is these people just love constant sparks of inspiration, constant ideas, constant things to explore. They love knowledge. They love wisdom. They love what you can gain out of a conversation that is way more than just the words. They're looking at your body and your posture and the things that you're not saying. Gemini can also pick up on those things because it's just so interested in absorbing. Okay? So that's big energy right there, and we need to make room for that. All right? It's time for new thought patterns. It's time for me to break out of this silly thought pattern that I have that is self-deprecating when it comes to my health of all things. You know, like, she's nothing like, you know, having a health condition and the first thing you do is turn against yourself. I mean, I'm just being real with you. It's ridiculous, but I've watched myself do it long enough now that is the gift of the health condition. That is what I'm waking up to parts of me that are deficient in that way, that why would the answers be where I am self-deprecating myself? I know my higher self, my expanded version of who I am, is not doing that. And so I'm not in alignment to therefore receive the very epiphanies, the very inspiration that will truly help me along my path. Because I'm immediately, do you see? It's like you shut down the energy when you rely on these very old thought patterns. And this will be something for you, like I was saying with my example, you tend to go to it over and over and over. It's like a knee-jerk reaction. It's time to break that pattern. You're ready to up your game, and you're just ready. You're ready for those new arrows. And the thing about an arrow is you just line it up. You get well practiced with that bow, and you can hit that target right on every time. But it takes some time, and that's the thing with these thought patterns too. It takes time to break out of that shit because we have practiced it so well unconsciously. You know, we practiced it our whole lives. So I'm not saying that this is easy, but it's an opportunity for you. What is that thing, that thought pattern that plays out, that when you come out of that, whatever the situation is that spurs that thought pattern, you look back at it and go, why? Because maybe other information comes in and sends you in a totally different direction, and you get out of the thought pattern eventually. Eventually it all does pass. But you look back and say, okay, so why did I just go through a whole self-deprecating scenario here? And why would I bring that into my energy when I need positive, and not just positive, because I don't think it's all sunshine and rainbows all the time. It's more, it's about capability. It's about having resilience and being able and being courageous enough to allow divine inspiration to even make its way in. That's what this full moon is offering. It's an opportunity to break that pattern, and to bring out your awareness to it is everything, because this just plays out. And when you can stop the pattern and you can open yourself like, nope, I'm going there again, and I'm stopping the train right here. When you can then open up, that's when divine inspiration can come in, because your brain is so busy doing this, the program. There's no space for inspiration in those moments, okay? So that's what I feel the opportunity is with this full moon, all right? So we'll see what the cards have to say, and you can certainly pick more than one card. There might also be some of you who will get a little bit of a message out of all three cards. The first card up is from the Trippin' Rider Waite deck, and all the choices, by the way, this week are from tarot decks. And this is the King of Cups. So I think this is what's looking to break through. This is what's looking to break through. This is bringing your emotional reactions, being very masterful, because this is the top, the very top of the suit of cups, which has to do with emotions. And what I think with the King of Cups here is that you are being invited to welcome your natural mastery in using your emotion system first to guide you. Notice when you're starting to feel that sense of, I'm seeing it as ratcheting down. It certainly is nothing like the speed of an arrow going out of a bow. It certainly is not that. It's a ratcheting down of your energy. When that thought pattern that I talked about in the intro starts going, you will know what I mean, because it's something that it needs to bring you down to a very, there's my vent, we've got to blow this shit off. Just blow it off, you know. It's when those thought patterns want to bring you down to a very 3D level. And what I mean by 3D is I only believe what I can see and what I'm told and what I learn and what the authorities tell me. It's a very concrete way of living. It doesn't leave much room for the magical, for the inspirational. And I just want you to challenge yourself in those moments to say, you know, am I leaving an opening for the magical? I mean, this king here has these magical dolphins jumping around him, because the mastery is in you using your emotions to help guide, to help indicate, when am I not in my magical mode, you know? When am I in that very 3D place? And this is what they tell me, and so that's what that means, and and you just can watch your energy just go, it's like a downward spiral. And there's nothing expansive there. And remember, this is Gemini Full Moon. Gemini wants to learn more, wants to be more, does want to up its game through wisdom and knowledge and just pure curiosity about life. But you can't do that if your feet are stuck in the mud all the time. And his feet are not stuck in mud. And the fact that it's the king indicates, so notice when your energy is going into this very stodgy sort of place and you're calling on all existing knowledge that's up here. Those are old arrows. They've been used and reused so many times. There's no feathers left on them. The tip on them is pretty blunt at this point. They still fly through the air just fine, but you have to almost put more power into them in order to reach the target. And to instead of letting the thought program take place, we notice when we really pay attention, the thought takes us and whips us around like you grabbing a cat by the tail and just whipping it around like this. That's what thought can do at times, because we're not mastering it. We're not saying, hey, back in line. I'm not choosing that thought for this. It's a very blunt kind of energy. And instead, with the King of Cups, using your emotions to guide you, that when you're feeling that sense of like, oh, it's almost a doom and gloom kind of feeling, you know that you don't have the expansive thought in place yet. Ding, it's like a little magical rocket goes up in the air, so to speak. I need some inspiration here. And it's using your emotion to help guide you. That sort of, it takes many shapes for different people. But I think about doom and gloom. It's any emotion that makes you feel like you're limited. And like, I've got two options here. You never have just two options. There are always multiple options. But it does take creativity, and you need divine inspiration to help you in that process. Not the 3D where your feet are in mud and you're like stuck. Okay? So it's using emotion as your first guidance. That needs to be where your attention is best placed. Okay? Catch yourself in the process earlier by noticing your emotion. And if it is something that keeps you small, that makes you feel like you're limited. Oh my gosh, I just had a chipmunk right here. You gotta believe in the magic. That's what he is. You gotta believe in the magic that is all around us. But you can't if you are calling on these old thought patterns. This Gemini full moon actually wants to shake it out of you. That's what I'm being shown. It's like, we're gonna shake this stuff out. And those thought patterns will still keep trying to gain their entry, but you can stop them. This is mastery. And the thing with the king, that's masculine energy here, is using the emotion as a guide. Like, oh, okay, I'm starting to feel smaller and smaller. I'm starting to feel like I'm weakened somehow. Like I don't have enough knowledge. You notice you turn the energy against yourself. That will be how you know. But emotion is a very quick way to know if you're in alignment or not. And the thing with the masculine energy indicated here, there he is again, is that then it spurs your action. Then you're like, okay, I need to go. For me, it's going onto YouTube, onto certain channels that I really gain a lot of inspiration from, and tuning in, and that can completely shift me around, where that thought pattern is not even existent anymore. Okay, but you have to catch yourself in it. And I think the emotions is the fastest way to catch it. And again, the goal here is an emotion that says, I am capable. And how creative exactly can I be with this situation? And what could be other scenarios that are playing out here. Gemini is an energy of I wonder what. And again, it doesn't have to be all sparkling rainbows. This is just about opening yourself up so that divine inspiration can come in, and it shifts the energy for you. It will do that. That is the big you helping you out. And I've had it happen to me so many times, I can't even recount them all. But the divine inspiration does not come in when you are closed down like a little ball and in a self-deprecating space. It just can't come in. Okay, so just to catch yourself in it, if you still want to be in that self-deprecating space, then go for it. But the Gemini full moon wants more for you. It wants your own wisdom to come through to assist you. That's the ultimate goal here. Okay? The second card is from the Golden Art Nouveau, I think is the name of the deck. Oh, beautiful. This is the Three of Wands. The Wands represents fire. Okay? And what I love about this card, it is the dawning of a new day in terms of passion and inspiration. Oh man, I sure hope this is my card. This is really beautiful to see for this reading. He's looking out at a brand new world. He doesn't have a whole lot. He's got 3 wands. Can't even build a proper fire with those pieces of wood, But all it takes, that's why I wanted to call this the sparking moon. All it takes is a spark to make a fire, to bring us warmth and capability. When I think about the energy of fire, I think about that blood pumping through your veins. And it's not an anger energy, it is a passionate energy. Though what I will say about anger, which is related to the element of fire, a colleague and friend said this to me at work, and you get for your reading the little chipmunk here. He's like, I really want to come up on the deck, but you're really in the way. He's just sitting here listening to us. So anyway, the thing about fire, when you get angry or like frustrated, that's another good emotion that's fire related. It shows that you're passionate. You get that way because you're passionate. It all relates back to fire, it just keeps going around, and that fire is self-sustaining. And with that sense of warmth that fire naturally brings, when it is in kind of just a steady state, I want you to think about like in a fireplace or when you're having a campfire, when you get to that really nice place when it's not a blazing fire where everybody's got to keep shifting their seats because the smoke is going everywhere, and the flames are getting a little out of control and you got to try to contain it a little. No, I'm talking about the fire that slowly burns. It's when you get down to those glowing embers, and it's a different level of heat that is very cozy. It's very welcoming. And that's what is wanted for you, I think, in this full moon, is as you have the courage enough to let go of these self-deprecating thought patterns, instead you're making the way for greater inspiration and drive and passion and that blood pumping through. You're making more room for that. Those are the arrows, the handcrafted arrows that you're putting in. And what I'm really noting with this card is it doesn't take a lot to start. He's got these 3 wands, but what the core message of the card is, it's the dawning of a new day. It's a totally new experience. It's like waking up and seeing the world forever different. I think some of the people who have had near-death experiences, if you listen to some of those stories, no matter what your belief is, if you think that's real or not, the perception that they are given from a higher place as the plane goes over, from an expanded place, they come back into life because it isn't their time yet to transition, and their lives are forever changed. They can never go back to who they were, and I feel emotional just even saying that because it's so profound. That is a profound energy. But the thing is I don't feel you need to have a near-death experience. I think in our own ways, especially right now, we're all kind of having a near-death experience. And I say that with laughter in my voice, like, Jesus, the world is awful serious. I find myself getting really serious all the time. And with that comes very staunch belief, and you should be doing this, and don't you tell me what to do, and blah, 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 blah. I mean, that's a whole other level of fire. That's the flames when they're just going out of control. There's not much efficient heat out of that. It's just flames, We want to get to a place where we're in that nice embers, really consistent, cozy heat. But it keeps the thing with that type of fire, it keeps you engaged. Like when my husband has a fire going and we get to that stage of it towards the end of the night, I never miss saying to him, I just wish we could package this up and bring it into our bedroom, like that we could have this fire embers in our bedroom. I just want to be with this a little bit longer, and it's because it's gotten to that very cozy place. And again, those are the kinds of arrows, those are the kinds of thought patterns that want to make their way out. That's already within you, and you have those experiences where you look out, you wake up every day and you say, it's a new day. And I've got an opportunity here to shift my perception of what's occurring, of looking at, am I being far too serious? Am I in that place where I've just got flames shooting out of my mouth and out of my eyes? And, like, am I just a flamethrower? You've got arrows that they don't have any feathers on the back of them because you've singed them all off. Believe me, I get it. I've been in that place lately, very anger-filled. And when you're very sensitive, for me, it comes out in my body. I start having things like cold sores pop out, or TMI, but a UTI come on, or this is what happens now. It's routine for me. So I'm like, okay, get it together, Kat. Come on. Gotta get back over in your lane. This isn't your natural place to be anymore. And so you want to really do some thinking with the full moon around, where has my fire been at? And do I need to maybe clean the fire pit out? I'm talking completely in analogy as I normally do for my readings. Do I need to clean the fire pit out? Do I need to maybe even create a new structure for a fire ring, or cleaning the fireplace out and getting a new grate for it? Do I need to get wood that is more seasoned and not so wet and dreary? It's going to be different for each of you, but I think it's about studying the use of your fire. And how have you or haven't you? Maybe some of you have not been using your fire at all. That sense, what I mean by that is that feeling of you wake up and it's a new day. Your blood is pumping and you're ready to get on with it. You're ready to contribute. That's a big thing with fire people and the fire element within each of us. I want to contribute. I want to make my day worth something. And that doesn't necessarily mean going down through a to-do list. It's more what inspires you, what drives your continued passion. And you can find passion in washing the dishes, doing the laundry, doing ironing. You certainly can, but it doesn't have to be that either. Because sometimes you push your way through those jobs and you're like, slamming things around because I don't want it. This is the last thing I want to be doing. Could you just take a 10-minute break from that? Maybe come outside Maybe meet up with a little chipmunk friend who lives out back here. You know, maybe just be amazed for a minute. Look out on your magical world. This is like new beginning time, okay? Look out, get a refresh of your perspective. Think about the things that people you know are going through. And then turn and be grateful for what it is that you have going on in your life, even if you've got some hard shit going on. We all do. We all do. And still choose to see the gifts. You know, the whole thing with your reading is that blood pumping through your veins. You got it. You got color in your cheeks. You know, you're here, able to listen to my message, able to see the world, able to sense. We're so lucky to have this sensory system. The taste and the sight, to see that little chipmunk and the birds and hearing them, and the sight of this beautiful land that we live on. You know, like, there's just so much. It can feel overwhelming, but that's this guy right here. He is overwhelmed by the passion he has for his life. And again, he's starting with something pretty small. And that's where I feel you can break that momentum. You can break the momentum of those old thoughts, the old arrows that need to be taken out of the quiver so you can make room for new ones. And maybe you won't choose to use fire arrows this time, because there's just no need. There's no need of pushing your message or trying to change somebody's mind or trying to push to change a process. Instead, you start practicing that for yourself. People start seeing results of your methods. And they say, what is that? I want some of that, because you're doing really well. I don't know what it is, but what's your secret? That's really inspired living. And it's just inspiration because it serves you, because it makes you more. It makes you endlessly curious about what's next. Don't you think that that's what he's asking? What's next today? How am I going to contribute to this world in my own special way? The third card's from the Angel Tarot. And I love this card, especially for the energy of Gemini. This is the Eight of Earth. And this is a card that has to do with putting in the work, putting in very skilled work, and I really feel the fairy energy very strong here. I'll tell you why in a minute. This card says skilled work is rewarded. Learning all there is to know about a topic, going back to school. You need to clean out your quiver. You need to clean out those old arrows, because you've got a whole new wave of knowledge and wisdom from within you that is ready to surface. And truly, for some of you, this could mean a study of some sort, going into study, being interested in learning about something completely new, starting from the ground level. There's something incredibly satisfying about that process and building it over time. You know, that's how I feel about doing card readings and astrology too. But especially I feel it with card readings because I've been doing them for a while now. And I was realizing last night as I was sending, somebody contacted me about looking at some cards that someone else had pulled. And she was wary about the message that was given. And I was amazed when I looked at my own response that was all, it's always spirit coming through me. Like, this is all of your spirit speaking through me for these general readings, okay? It's not from my brain, certainly. And it's not just my own divine guidance. I have a particular bend, as we all do. But it amazed me as I responded to this person how much I just intuitively knew to be truth for me as a reader, as an interpreter of sorts, and how I felt really strong in my feelings about that. And just, again, it feels like truth, but it's something, and you'll have something in your life you can point to. It's the fact that I've grown it very steadily over time. I would say most days I'm working with a card deck, even if it's just to pull one card for myself as inspiration to then journal from each morning. Most days I pick up a pendulum. That has grown my dowsing ability. And it's one day after another. Or I should say it more like it's one day at a time. And that's the feeling I'm getting. I'm giving my example for that reason here. It's literally my favorite phrase, your fine craftsmanship that you are building, that you are invited to build, to start a new journey, to start a new wisdom path. That's nice how that came through, wisdom path. I like that. To open up for that to make its way. And those times when you just become very interested in something new, and I can feel that quelling up within me and think it's time to clean out my quiver. It's a level of excitement, like if I could just learn one new little tidbit each day within that area of expertise, within that path, that wisdom path. If I could just learn one thing. I love that message. That's what's wanting to come forward for you, is cleaning out the old stuff, because you know all that already. I'm being led back to, in the intro when I was talking about how the brain just is on a repeat, because you're only working with what you already know. That's what the brain has to offer. As much as, it's my belief, not everybody maybe will agree with me, but I don't feel any original thought comes from the human brain itself. The human brain, where its skill is in holding on to our learnings, like a steel trap. And it's like a huge card catalog, for those who remember that from the library days. It's this sense of, we can call up that information really quickly, to help us again find stability when we don't have stability, for example. But the thing is, they're just old thoughts. This is the Gemini full moon. You want new stuff, because the earth and her vibration, and we just have to look at the state of the world right now. We are breaking open into something new. You don't have to be a spiritual person or know about the age of Aquarius or the 2100-year cycle or blah, 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 blah. I could go on about that stuff, but you just have to look at what's happening in the world to realize that there is something really big breaking open in the trajectory of humanity. We are all being profoundly changed from our baseline up. And so this is a time to begin changing some thought patterns, to begin noticing them, bringing your awareness. And I feel for you with this message, and I'll bring the fairies up here. It's the fact that if you divert your attention, instead of, okay, I got to clean out the quiver, I got to get rid of those arrows, and then new thoughts. Because people who chose this card, you have a very active brain. Like, I feel the speed of it, and I feel you being like, okay, all right, I need new thoughts. Okay, new thoughts. Where do new thoughts? It's like you don't have to work hard at this, but the broader part of you feels like it is suggesting that if you start delving into a new area of study or interest or whatever, you're just simply expanding what that steel trap up here has to offer. And with the fairy energy, the reason I brought that up is skilled work, that of a fine craftsman, that is the hallmark of fairy energy. And those who have watched me for a while know that I do believe those elementals are real. I think they're responsible for the beautiful things that we see in landscapes. You know, those little tents that we see when you come out, particularly in the summer, and it's over the parts of the grass. Just beautiful little things. It's little things. Fairies are very adept at being able to make very special moments. And there's certain people who carry very strong energy of the fairies. I know some quite well. And so that's energy that is very diligent, and it might not be recognized all the time, but it is the fact that you're producing a product that your heart is all in it, and you want to make it special, you want to make it customized, you want to make it tangible. And it's not about the scale of it. It's not about the grandness of it. It's not gilded edges, you know. This is the sitting down and doing the work in the reading or the listening or the watching or whatever it may be. There's a certain energy that fairies bring to these projects that they work on. And it takes significant effort. And it produces these just really beautiful, very small, intricate experiences. And I'm sure that you've had some of those experiences, you know. It doesn't have to be out in nature. It's just when I think about flowers that I've gotten from my parents' property over the summer, and I took a photo of one of the tulips as it was wide open, and I just sat there in amazement at the structure of it. Absolutely divine perfection. It was just so beautifully symmetrically created, and not to mention the color. That was a whole other wow moment within itself. And that was a fairy moment right there. The fairies have a lot to do with how flowers are formed and how they progress in their blossoming. Fairies, I believe, are the ones that leave the dewdrops, you know, on everything that is so beautiful, if you're able to catch that in the morning. Even on the dead leaves that are on the ground, you know. It's just a very special, small, but potent experience. And that's where this sort of fine craftsmanship approach wants to lead you to, is creating that for yourself. You may be, whatever the area of interest is, it may help other people in the process, but it is something that you just genuinely can get your heart into. And I feel, because you have quite an active brain, that you don't have to new thoughts. It isn't about trying to identify what those are, and I feel like you want to strap it down or nail it down, okay, I got the new thoughts, all right, check that one off the list, okay, what's next? You know, it's more, this is something that you're going to grow over time, and to really appreciate that process. And truly, the touching of something every day, even if it's only just a tiny bit, and even if you are so busy on a given day that it's just a fleeting thought, there is still, you're touching your energy on it, just as the fairies do, every single day, and it becomes a practice of sorts. And there will be days that you don't feel like touching it, or you don't want to, you know, pursue that path maybe, or you just, something occurs to you, an epiphany comes that, okay, I was going this direction and now it's leading me over here. Just going with what feels right, you know? But it's getting your brain detached enough from, okay, Gemini new moon or full moon, and wanting to see, I said new moon because I feel like your energy I just want the new start. Okay, blank slate, start again. Blank slate, start again. And there's parts of me that are definitely like that too. But this is full moon. This is like, nope, I'm going to let this go, and I'm going to let it go by focusing myself in a different direction. So what is that area of study for you? What is that sort of heart passion, that wisdom path that wants to make itself, it just wants to burgeon. That's what I'm seeing. It's been coming up, but this is the moon to really let it have, you're giving it enough energetic space to come up, and then it will be your task in true Gemini fashion to do the skilled work, the fine craftsmanship of literally every day touching something because you're passionate about it, because you care, because you want to, you just want to do it because it makes you feel good, you know, for no other reason. It's just highly satisfying. And a new area of study or craftsmanship of some sort is a perfect way to do that. And it really can consume our energy in a very positive way, in a very productive way. Okay? Thank you, everybody. And just a shameless plug here at the end. I do have a new set of readings that I've just put up on my website called the 7 Keys, 7 Magic Keys reading. It's a set of 7 readings. And you get a set of actual keys that I will ship to you. And once a month, you'll get a reading from me delivered as a video that talks about these magic keys that unlock this greater potential. And I'm, again, just a messenger with your kind of expanded self energy. But as you listen to the messages, you will bring, you know, the deeper meaning to it all. I'm just an interpreter here. So that's a fun new set of readings that I'm putting out there. You can find that on Blue Sky Shop, and I'll include the link down below in the YouTube description. Okay? Have a great full moon, everybody. There's lots of potential here. Potential for inquisitiveness and curiosity to take center stage. Bye-bye for now.